Welcome to The Explainer. All right, let's talk about something that trips up pretty much everyone, English verb tenses. But what if I told you they aren't just a bunch of boring grammar rules? What if they're actually your secret weapon for telling way better stories?
So, let's get right to it. Why are they so darn confusing? Well, if you've ever found yourself stuck between saying, I did, I have done, or I had been doing, you're in good company. It's a huge challenge, mostly because one tiny little change in a verb can totally flip the meaning of what you're trying to say. Just look at this. The only difference is was versus is. But think about the story each one tells. When you say, my mom was a dietitian, it immediately makes you wonder, what happened? Did she retire, change jobs? It puts the whole story in the past. But my mom is a dietitian. Well, that's happening right now. As writer Eva Langston points out, that one little word gives you all the precision you need. So how do we get that kind of precision without tying our brains in knots? We start by drawing a map, a really simple framework that puts every single tense in its proper place.
First off, how many are we even dealing with here? According to grammar experts like Phil Williams, English has 12 main tenses we use to talk about time.
I know 12 sounds like a lot, but seriously, don't panic. The coolest part is that all 12 of them fit perfectly into one simple, logical system.
And that whole system is built on just these three things: the past, the present, and the future. That's it. Every tense you'll ever use is really just a way of pinning an action to a specific moment on this timeline. And here it is. This is your complete map. See how it's laid out? You've got your 3 time periods, past, present, future, running down the side, and then across the top, you have 4 different flavors or aspects for each one: simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous. This little grid right here, it's the key to the whole thing. All right, map in hand, let's put it to the test. We're going to start with one of the most common puzzles. How in the world do you talk about something that happened before the main past tense story you're already telling? The tool you're looking for is called the past perfect. Its entire job is to signal to your listener that, hey, this thing I'm talking about happened even before that other past thing. Think of it as the official tense for flashbacks and essential backstory. Eva Langston's guide shows this perfectly. It's all about sequence. The event that happened furthest in the past, I had never been a fan, that gets the past perfect. That's your backstory. Then, closer to the present, you get the main event in the simple past. I tasted the cake.
And when you put it all together in a sentence, it just flows. I had never been a fan sets that stage. It establishes how things were for a long time. Until I tasted the cake. See? The past perfect makes that sequence of events totally clear without any extra effort.
Okay, next puzzle. You're telling a story about the past. Do you say, I walked or I was walking? Let's break down the difference between those simple and continuous forms.
Here's the secret. All you have to do is ask yourself this one simple question. Is the action I'm describing a single, finished thing, or was it an ongoing process? Answering that will guide you to the right tense pretty much every time.
Check out this example about Sarah. Sarah waited. Is clean, simple, it's a done deal. But Sarah was waiting. That makes you feel it. It puts you right there on the curb with her, feeling the minutes drag on. It focuses on the process of waiting. Now, both are correct, but Langston gives a great tip here. Don't overuse the continuous tense, or your story can get a little bogged down. It's all about intention. Choose the one that best serves the moment you're trying to create.
Okay, so you've got the map, you get the theory, but how do you actually make this stuff stick? So you can just use it without thinking. Well, the secret is to stop doing boring drills and start playing.
Language experts like Emily Monaco make such a great point about this. Games are often way more useful than just repeating rules. Why? Because it's one thing to remember a rule for a quiz. It's a whole other challenge to actually use it correctly in the moment when you're just talking. That's when you know you've really got it.
So here's a really fun activity called the storyboard game. You grab about 10 pictures that tell some kind of story, mix them all up, and then you have to put them back in the right order. But here's the catch. You have to use past tenses to explain why they go in that order. So you'd say something like, the secretary had prepared the coffee before she tripped. It forces you to use those different tenses together.
And the fun doesn't have to stop there. You can use charades to practice what someone is doing right now, or a game of truth or lie to talk about things you have done in your life. The whole idea is to make practicing grammar feel less like homework and more like, well, a game.
So, where does this all lead? What's the final big idea here? It's that getting the hang of verb tenses isn't really about passing a grammar test. It's about unlocking a genuine storytelling superpower. So let's bring it all home. We've seen that tenses are just a map for placing actions in time. We've learned that the past perfect is your go-to for telling stories about the past in the past. We know that choosing between simple and continuous forms gives you control over the feel of your story. And at the end of the day, the right tense adds so much more than just correctness. It adds clarity, context, and real emotion.
So the question I want to leave you with is this. How are you going to use verb tenses, not just to be correct, but to tell a much more powerful story? Because now, with this map in your head, you literally have the tools to control time itself.